Hola.
Hola.
Habla inglés?
It's like Spanish and then Italian. What day is it? February 3rd. Today, Tuesday? Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
So we'll just catch you up to date.
Catch ourselves up.
Catch ourselves up to date. So we last left off.
We're going to Gibraltar.
We're going to Gibraltar.
So the next morning we got up early.
We went to Gibraltar.
And
Well, we
had the fiasco with the car, which I think we said in the last one, where the hotel was canceled and then it got rescheduled.
But we had to take the train to the airport.
Train to the airport.
And I'm very proud of us. We were able to help German tourists figure out the train. So
After we had to figure it out ourselves.
yeah.
Because it was access. Train comes on platform 2, but access via platform 4. But that's just because it.
You had to go through the turnstile.
Yeah, so you had to get on the different side of the train.
Why they didn't just say platform 2.
Yeah, and it was a scrolling thing, so you couldn't interpret it really easy. You either had to try to take lots of pictures of it, interpret it, or try to read it and then type it back out, which was difficult.
But we did.
So we got over there, yeah, and then we watched German people struggle. Well, we didn't know they were German. They were English speaking.
You could tell they're speaking.
But they asked a kid that was Spanish, and he was kind of like,
I think.
Yeah, I think. That's my best guess. So
I helped them get through the turnstile, and we talked to them a bit while we were waiting for our train. And then we went.
In English, not German.
In English. I didn't even use my line of German on them.
Yeah.
It's like a 10-minute train ride to the airport. We picked up our car and started our trip to Gibraltar, which was just like an hour and a half drive. And you're a very good driver, and you had to put up with
Lots of same
Panic
complaining
attack.
as the United States.
Huh?
Same complaining as the United States.
Worse.
Except for we couldn't listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Because you were, I don't know what was going on.
I was
Anyways, it was
nervous.
really pretty easy.
Yeah.
It was straightforward.
It was. You had looked up before we went on Google Earth. Because we had like 13 roundabouts, so you looked up
Had a plan. for
every
which one.
how to do each one and wrote it out, and I had to read them before we got there because this still all relates back to our roundabout trauma from
2007 in Ireland.
in Ireland, our first big trip.
But they also had Android Auto, which made it really easy.
So we got to Gibraltar, checked into our hotel, and it was super windy, like blow you down the street windy. But we did walk into Gibraltar.
And walking up the Prudential Rock, not quite as impressive as you think. I mean, it's a big rock, but you still are thinking, because when you're researching it, the maps make it look like it's humongous, like you can't walk the entire distance.
Yeah.
So you're really thinking like a mountain, and it's not so much a mountain.
It's a rock.
I mean, it's a big rock, but
But the fun thing is, well, it's fun, but you get to walk across the Gibraltar runway. We had to go through immigration. We got our passport stamped. But Gibraltar, because it's so narrow, the airstrip can only go lengthwise. So to get into Gibraltar, you go through immigration and then you walk across the airport.
the runway.
The runway. And then they'll block it off if a plane is coming.
Cars used to go over the runway, but they built a tunnel under it. So,
Oh, I didn't build a people tunnel.
well, it took like 12, 13, 14 years to build a car tunnel. So, they couldn't do a people tunnel.
So, Gibraltar town, I
Well, it was a
didn't
bit
love.
overwhelming the first day because it was really crowded.
Really crowded, lots of shopping. It is
Tourist shopping.
It's a cruise ship stop, so a lot of like jewelry stores and
Yeah, what you would expect in a tourist type area.
yeah. Of course, they used the pound because it was British.
I shouldn't say that. It wasn't all, because then there's like the stuff that the people that live there need also.
Yeah.
So it's not quite full of tourists.
But it wasn't. I mean, we weren't super impressed by
Yeah.
the
Just
town.
like anything else.
So we just walked around there and then walked back to our hotel. So our hotel, the walk was about, including going through immigration, like 40 minutes from the main square of Gibraltar to our hotel, which for us isn't really a big deal. And then we got back and decided we were going to have pizza down the street, which was actually
really good.
Pretty good. And then I got to go to Burger King and get ice cream.
Hotel was nice. Very hot European scalding water, full pressure shower.
The towels had been dried in a dryer, so they weren't scratchy.
Giant bed.
That was like a rock itself.
Yeah, it was hard, but still big.
And our hotel.
English speaking TV because of British people.
That was.
Oh, that was nice too.
What?
British people.
Yeah, just walking into anything and just speaking English. That was nice. And then we had a view of Gibraltar from our balcony. But that day we ended up walking like 7.5 miles just out and back. And then on Wednesday the 29th, we were going to Gibraltar, which is mainly a preserve, like a nature preserve. And we had read a lot of accounts of this experience because the cable car on the website, according to the website, was under construction, so shut down for a month. So our only option was to walk up. Well, one of our favorite Spain YouTube travel guys was like, it's very strenuous, it'll take 7 to 8 hours. And we're like, okay. So we went to the store the night before and we had bottles of water and peanuts.
Yeah, because he was like, there's very few bathrooms, take snacks, watch out for the monkeys.
So
he made it sound pretty bad.
It was pretty hyped up in our mind. We had breakfast at the hotel and we left the hotel at like 8:45. And we...
Omelet for breakfast.
You had a freshly made omelet.
Freshly made omelet. It's good.
I don't eat omelets, so
No.
I had
You had
bread.
Bread.
But we walked first to a place called the Apes Den, which is where they feed the monkeys. So we kind of walked through a neighborhood and then up a bunch of stairs and then a rocky kind of path to get to the Apes Den. Of course, being January, we were the only people there. A couple like cars drove by, but they were more like park related cars. And one, we saw really 2 tour buses the whole time, tour vans. But we got to see the monkeys there. And
local lady throwing her dog a ball up the hill.
And then we had to walk up to a place that we thought we weren't sure we would go, St. Michael's Cave, because
it seemed like it was
going to be
impossible to do.
Yeah, so far away. When we're like, oh, it's not that far. So, but it was all uphill.
Yeah,
and it was steep uphill, but not. I mean, we weren't out of breath or anything.
Same as walking in the park.
Yeah,
national park.
So that was fine. So we went to the cave, and then we had to walk further up the hill to the skywalk, which was just a little overlook that had a glass floor. And I looked from the side and held onto the handle.
Afraid of heights.
Not really.
Apparently.
And then we did walk up to where the cable car is. And there's a restaurant up there, an overlook, and we could get to the cable car station, but I think it really was shut down.
I think it was closed.
There was a sign as if you'd go into the station, but there was a gate up, and there were like maintenance cars.
Yeah.
So we could not
Workers
get to the
everywhere.
very top of the lookout part. So then we just walked around trying to find a way in, and then we started down, which really the downhill was worse than the uphill, I think, because it was so sloped. And then
Moorish Castle.
World War II tunnels, which we stayed like 10 minutes.
Yeah, not much to see.
And then the Moorish Castle, again, not much to see.
And the city under siege.
Oh yeah, that was fun. So we got into town by like 1:30?
Yeah, quick.
So it's a 40-minute walk into town from our hotel, and we did the whole thing.
Pretty much. I mean, we could have gone further.
Yeah, and we didn't go to the Mediterranean Stairs or the Europa Point, but
yeah, I don't think it would have been bad though.
and like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So it was vastly overstated.
Yeah.
In a lot of.
But I think if you walk a lot, it's okay. If you don't walk a lot, it's probably pretty tough.
Yeah. And then we walked into town and we had fish and chips, which was really good. And then we went back to our hotel and took a nap. Sort of.
Yeah.
Just rested our legs. Then we walked to an Indian restaurant for dinner. But it was actually raining that night. So we had dinner, came back, kind of died off to come back. But I looked at my phone and we walked 9.83 miles that day. So about over 17 miles in 2 days. So. And then Thursday the 30th, uneventful.
Yeah, just kind of hung out, recovering. Hip was pretty sore from all that walking.
Well, we had to go home, so we walked around the marina.
Drove around. Took the wrong way on the wrong way home in a roundabout, but yeah, it was fine.
And we got gas. That was easy.
Yeah,
you just
wasn't
go
the
in
gas
okay.
station I wanted it to be at, but it worked out.
So yeah, we returned our car on time, caught the train back, and then we just hung out and rested and went to the grocery store. And then Friday we actually slept in, and it was sunny, so we did some laundry so we could get it dried because it had been raining so much. And then Jason tried 5 times to go to the little barber right down the street.
Yeah, a barber that never has anybody at it except for when you want to go, and then there's people out in the street
waiting
because it's a one-room little squeeze in, one little bench to sit down.
Yeah.
But it was a young guy, so we figured it would be
easy.
Oh, and then we read his instructions, his hours, and they were in English.
Really?
Yeah, there was like a British or a Spanish part and then an English part.
And then we just walked to the bigger grocery store to get our steps in and to get some stuff that we can't get at the smaller one. And then Saturday, it was sunny, February 1st. So we went to Valderrama. We can't speak Spanish.
By train.
And we walked to the beach and just walked on the beach and
walked around. We had a little boardwalk.
We walked in the little nature area.
Yeah.
So really just walked.
Just hung out, yeah.
Then we took the train back, and then we went to the mall again.
Try it out again after the IKEA experience.
So we didn't go to the outlet part, we went to the actual mall. We figured out there was like a shopping mall instead of these outlet stores, and it was worse than IKEA.
It was like being in the United States mall
in the 90s.
In a city at Christmas.
Yeah. It was insane.
Jam-packed. People everywhere. For some reason, they still like malls.
Yeah. So we were there, got there like maybe 7 o'clock. We maybe stayed an hour and a half. And then we just rode the bus home.
They had a bowling alley.
Yeah, bowling alley.
It's like
Food
the old
court,
malls.
Yeah.
It definitely was.
And families were there, lots of kids.
Teenagers.
Little kids could ride motorized cars, uncontrolled through the mall, through the crowd. So that was fun. But not a very exciting day. So Sunday the 2nd, our Airbnb host, Mary, had sent me a message on Saturday and said that there was a blessing of the animals parade at this park that we've been to. And of course, that was very exciting to me.
Yeah. I wasn't really sure what that meant. I thought it would be something more, but anyways.
Something more.
I don't know. I just thought there'd be.
I thought there would be more of a parade.
Yeah, that's
traditional parade aspect as well, but it was just really an animal parade.
A junk sale and animal parade and
throwing some blessings on
animals.
Holy mother, I guess. But they had a walk to the park, which is like a 30+ minute walk, and they had like a barrier, like a route with chairs lined up. And the park was full of people and full of dogs. Some people had their rabbits. I saw one person with a turtle. We saw a miniature horse that had baskets hanging on the side, and he carried little dogs in the basket. It was very good people watching.
Local news was there.
Local news was there. Jason likes to watch the local news, so he recognized the reporter. But I loved it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
It was like my perfect day of dogs everywhere.
Horses.
And the great part about that,
it was right next to the Indian restaurant.
Yay!
So we went back to the Indian restaurant and got food to go.
We did. And walked around with it. And we
They
ate.
didn't give us pompadons, which we were upset about. And they didn't give us pompadons in Gibraltar.
Even though I asked for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we came back, we inhaled our food because I was starving. And then I actually took a nap and Jason watched soccer. And then today is February 3rd. So our building had some construction started before we came, and then for some reason it stopped before we got here. But the floor was all torn up with like dust, and like we have to sweep every day to get the dust up. But they started working again today at 8:30, and they're pounding with like a chisel.
Wall.
And then they had to do it all around our floor, and then the guy also whistles while he does it. So while we were...
It's not that, but it's some pattern over and over.
So we needed to get out of the house, plus we needed some groceries because we didn't have any bread, so I had to go get bread.
To the grocery store. Bread and donuts.
And then we came back and couldn't stand the noise anymore, and we went back out, and Jason got his hair cut. The guy was finally available, and
he spoke English, and it wasn't the best English, but it was pretty good. And he was excited.
We talked about soccer.
Yeah, talked about football, talked about English football, not English, actually. His favorite team was Barcelona. Talked a little bit about soccer in the United States, talked about where I was from. He showed me his English by naming the apron, the hair dryer, the comb,
and then he asked you about
scissors.
He asked you about what you were here doing, or how long you were here.
Yeah, well, something like that. Something that I interpreted as, I don't know. Somehow I ended up saying I was here for 3 months, and then that turned into what are you here for, a job? Job or something. So I told him I was retired, and he seemed kind of surprised by that. And then he asked me how old I was, and I told him, and then
he asked you what work you did.
And then he was like, "What did you do?" And I told him, and then he's like, "Well, what do most people in that profession retire that early?" And I said, "No, you got to save your money." And then he asked what age people retire, and I said about 65, and he said it was the same in Spain. He likes his haircut job. He's been doing it for 6 years. Yeah. Food in Spain is really good, and I just agreed. And we talked about the weather in Virginia, if Virginia had a beach, if Virginia was in the middle of the United States or on the East Coast. He liked rock music from the United States. He liked not old movies, Al Pacino and all those guys type of movies.
Gangster movies.
Yeah, I guess gangster movies.
And you went, it was a very small place. So I stood outside with my umbrella. Then you had to pay. with crash only. We knew that.
Yep.
And then we came back.
Walked around a little bit in town.
Oh yeah, I went and bought a birthday card for my friend, but I wanted the birthday card to be in Spanish, which I've seen lots of birthday cards, but they've all been in English. So I remember going in a store, a tiny, very disorganized, like office products, art product store, and they had Spanish birthday cards. So bought that, came back, had lunch, and I can hear whistling.
Had some pate that I took from the hotel. Really good. Yeah.
So
That's where we're
tomorrow
at.
we'll probably be packing. I'll be cleaning like a nut, and we leave Jerez for good on Wednesday at like 9 o'clock.
And then to Sevilla,
Sevilla for 3 days.
Cordoba, and then Granada.
So
And we got our Alhambra tickets. Yes.
we did.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That was exciting.
Until Cordoba, probably.
Yeah.
Or Granada.
Bye.
I'm Jobless Jason.